In the small German city of Liebelf, in the mid-20th century, there was a girl named Anneliese Michel. She was the eldest daughter in the family, where strict discipline and deep faith reigned. Parents brought up children in the spirit of traditions and religious devotion. From an early age, Anneliese was distinguished by a quiet disposition, the desire to study, and her readiness to help others. At adolescence, she began to notice sudden attacks, which were accompanied by the loss of consciousness and convulsions. Doctors diagnosed the form of nervous disorder associated with severe seizures. The girl was prescribed treatment, which was supposed to stabilize her condition. However, as often happens, the drugs did not bring relief, but side effects, constant fatigue, loss of energy, and emotional changes. Anneliese tried to continue her studies. She dreamed of becoming a teacher and benefit to society. But the disease increasingly made itself felt. Her attacks became more difficult, sometimes accompanied by unusual sensations. The girl said that at certain moments, she saw gloomy figures, heard strange sounds, and felt smells that no one around was noticed. She did not pay much attention to this, writing off the consequences of the disease and drugs. But gradually the situation began to change. Anneliese became more and more closed. She avoided meetings with friends. She began to reluctantly attend the university where she studied. Sometimes she was covered by a strange state, during which she could sit motionless for hours, and then suddenly start to behave as if something invisible had happened around her. Relatives noticed changes. Her mother claimed that her daughter's gaze sometimes became so alien that it was scary to look into her eyes. Events began to take place in the house that it was difficult to explain. Things fell on their own. Incomprehensible sounds were heard in the night. The situation was complicated by the fact that the treatment almost did not help. Doctors advised to change the drugs, but Anneliese felt that it was not only an illness. She began to believe that her condition is associated with something that goes beyond the usual explanation. At the same time, the girl had a strong inner desire for spiritual practices. She prayed a lot, could be in the church for hours. However, instead of relief, a feeling of severe pressure came. She said that sometimes she could not enter the temple, as if something had held her on the threshold. For 20 years, the nightmares had intensified at the Anneliese. She complained that she sees strange faces in a dream, hears voices that haunt her. In the morning, she woke up with the feeling that she had not rested at all. Sometimes the body was covered with bruises, although she did not remember to hit. The environment began to seriously worry. Parents turned not only to doctors, but also to representatives of the clergy. At first, clergymen refused to intervene, considering what was happening the result of the disease. But soon other people became witnesses, friends, teachers, acquaintances. They noted that the girl could dramatically change in behavior, calm and soft. At one moment, she became aggressive and alien in the next. All more people began to think that the matter was not only for medical reasons. In the life of the Anneliese, a period began, which will become one of the most mysterious and discussed cases of the 20th century. When the state of the Anneliese worsened so much that it ceased to control many of their actions, the parents again turned to the clergy. After long checks and observations, it was decided to conduct a special ritual over it. From this moment on, the life of the family Michel turned into a series of tense and alarming days. Anneliese experienced attacks, during which her voice changed beyond recognition. Witnesses claimed that he sounded as if he had spoke a completely different person, and sometimes even a few votes at the same time. Her body acquired inhuman power. A fragile girl could break out of the hands of several men at once. Relatives and participants in the events said that at such moments she showed unusual knowledge of things that she had never known before. The rituals lasted for a long time, Sometimes they took place several times a week. Anneliese either came to her senses, then again plunged into a state when it seemed completely different. At these moments, she said that there was something around her that does not let her go. Her health was rapidly worsening. Long hours of stress, rejection of normal power, and constant exhaustion have done their job. Every day, Anneliese weakened. Relatives tried to take care of her, but she ate almost nothing and increasingly refused medical care. Nevertheless, even being in serious condition, she showed extraordinary resistance. The relatives recalled that sometimes the light was breaking through in it, the moments of clarity when she said that she was accepting her fate and was ready to endure everything to the end. On one of the summer days of 1976, its path ended. The girl was only 23 years old. The event caused a huge public outcry. An investigation began, during which it was discussed. What exactly caused her departure? Illness, refusal to treat, or something else that cannot be explained rationally? Parents and clergymen were in the center of the loud process, which attracted the attention of the whole of Europe. Opinions were divided. Some argued that this was a tragic case associated with medical errors and outdated glances. Others were sure that Anneliese was faced with a phenomenon overlooking science, and to the end remained a person who passed a difficult test. The story of Anneliese Michel has become a symbol of a dispute between science and faith, between a rational explanation and mystical experience. She continues to arouse interest to this day. Films were shot, books were written, many studies have been conducted, but there is no final answer, and perhaps will never be. Some see in her the tragedy of a young girl who did not receive proper treatment. Others are evidence that there is forces that cannot be explained with the help of science. And everyone who gets acquainted with this story inevitably asks the question, what actually happened to Anneliese Michel?